Hey everyone, welcome back to Chicken Cindy's, and this package is something I'm very excited for to put on this Dolomite ALX. Let's open it and see what we got. I'm gonna pull up my AliExpress account real quick because I got this off of Ali. This is actually the very first thing I've ever ordered off of that, so I didn't know what to expect. It was $54.21 total, and I ordered it on, let's find the date. I ordered it on 4/19, and today is 5/6, so about 3 weeks, a little under, which honestly is a lot quicker than I expected it to get in. So, after doing some research and trying to figure out what I would potentially need for this upgrade that I'm wanting to do, I found these on AliExpress, and I didn't know how they were going to come packaged, but they're literally just packaged in foam and just taped a ton. I will say these are packaged pretty well for coming from China, just a ton of foam pieces, but can you guess what these are? So here's the drive side crank arm with a very nice through. Looks really good so far. I found a externally driven bottom bracket for the Dolomite ALX. After I took it apart and measured everything, I was able to find these. These are 170mm cranks. They look really good. They say claw on them. I will put a link to this in the description of the video. And then here is the bottom bracket. So it is 100. It says 83 as well. So 83, 100, and 120. You need a 120 for the bottom of the Dolomite. Comes with some spacer rings for the drive side. Or I guess whichever side you need to put it on for yours. But so yeah. There you go. And as you open it, oop, took that off, didn't I? That'll come undone to fit 120 as well. Typical markage for left and right side. I'm sure that's kind of hard to see, but left side, right side. Got the arrows to show you which way to tighten, which is also really nice. I'm guessing, which I've preemptively pulled this down. So yeah, this is my foundation bottom bracket tool. Fits that absolutely perfect. So good deal. So, to install these onto the Dolomite, the tools you should need is bottom bracket tool for the actual new bottom bracket. This is for my square taper style bottom bracket. Oops, dropped it. This is the crank extraction tool that I use to pull those off. And then I got an adjustable wrench for the bottom bracket tools. That should be all we need, besides the little hex key to get the actual ring switched over to the new claw style. And I guess a hex key or a pedal spanner to get the pedals off. So this should be a pretty easy switch if this is something you're considering doing. The biggest thing for me is I'm not a big fan of square tapered. I've had a couple fail on me in this area to where the actual, the cranks, where they go into the square taper, have kind of like hollowed out and you could eventually get a wobble. And I think these are going to be quite a bit, well, we'll see what the weight difference is in a second. So let's check it out. Since I'm going to be playing with a chain, I'm going to put on some gloves for this. But instead of breaking the chain, I'm going to shut the clutch off. So now that's a lot easier to remove. I'm just going to take the chain and pull it to the side and let it dangle. We shouldn't have any issues doing that. Got a, should be 8mm dust cap cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off both dust covers. So for me to know which way the pedals go, I'll put them towards the bottom and I go this way on either side. I'll put this pedal towards the bottom and it'll go down towards the front tire. And depending on what pedals you have, you may not have to use a pedal spanner or pedal wrench, whatever you like to call them. But some pedals have Allen keys in the back. They're usually 5 or 6. But so like on the back of this Rock Bro, and you can actually just stick the Allen key through the back of this and put your pedal through it. Now to remove the crank arms. So 2 separate parts. Sometimes I put a little grease on the threads for this part that I'm screwing in. Just kind of helps it a little bit. And you take that back part and throw it in. I use the crank as leverage against it, so you can actually take it and pull it against it. Not too tight. And then you just pull it off. Rinse, wash, repeat for the other crank. So loosening that outside bolt out again. Be careful threading this in, because if you're not, you can cross thread this. It should go in pretty easily. I just thread it finger tight till it kind of gets snug. But as you can see, I'm kind of using the crank as like counter rotation for it to help get it off. So awesome. So far so good. Pretty easy switch. All right, bottom bracket tool for the square taper. Right side is righty loosey. Might take just a little, but the drive side is righty loosey. So keep that in mind if you're trying to take this square taper off. Especially if you've rode it a little bit, put some miles on this. This might be on there a little tighter than anticipated. So, whoop, there's that bad boy. The good thing is this other side, yeah, should come out real easily. And this one's lefty loosey, so it's the opposite of the right side. I'm gonna do 3 different weights real quick before I install the new bottom bracket and crank arms. I'm gonna do the original weight. So this is with the 2x crank arms on the original bottom bracket. So let's see what this original weight was. All right, so 2.75, 44 ounces exactly, and 1.25 kilograms. So that was the original crankset. The Action crankset with a 1x is 2.43. 2.43 pounds. Got 38.9 ounces and 1.105 kilograms. Here this is in its entirety. So I got the little plastic plug on the end as well. I do have the actual ring on this one installed because it's going on the bike in a minute. We are zeroed out. I'm excited over this. So 2.17. That's half a pound. Got 34.7 ounces, and in kilograms, 0.985. That's awesome. So just going over this, I can already tell that this is very nice. The bolts are black. The outsider here is black. So if you have IXF cranksets or anything like that, I know we've gone over it before, but the IXF cranksets will not fit this. So for a budget for that, that won't work. And I've yet to actually find something on Amazon that will work for this, because the bottom bracket's 120 millimeters. So you have to make sure that the bottom bracket will be 120 millimeters, but also that the spindle on the crank arms will fit that. That's the biggest thing, is the spindle length. Because technically you could take the cups from the IXF crankset and just screw them in and not have the protective sleeve, which you don't really want to do that, because water can get in the bottom there, because there's typically little holes drilled out for drainage, and then that can get into your actual cranks, and you don't want that to happen. But you want that sleeve to be able to extend, and you want this actual part, the spindle, to extend the entire way of the bottom as well. So definitely shave some weight. We're gonna have to do another bike weight at the end of this video, but let's get these bad boys put on. We'll grease them, we'll get them up to torque and all that fun stuff, and then we'll put the chain back on and get it all ready to go. If you guys follow this channel at all, you know that I love Love me some Park Tool grease. Whew, I'm glad to be doing some more work on the Dolomite. It's so fun to work on this thing. Just bikes in general, but this Dolomite is just so easy to work on. It's so fun. Absolutely love it. All right, so that's all greased. Again, the actual bottom bracket does say right and left, and they have arrows for which way you have to tighten them. And I know I've said it before, but be careful threading these bad boys in, because the last thing you want to do is accidentally cross thread. See, that took me a couple tries to get that one in, but once you get it in, it should, like, it literally screws in so easily. So just be careful when you're doing that. The last thing you want to happen is to accidentally destroy your bottom bracket. Man. Entirely not necessary, but a little trick. If you don't want your actual bottom bracket to get destroyed whenever you're tightening it like this, you could put a piece of plastic, or like what I just did, a shop towel. My bike's moving a bit, so I'm gonna tighten it down. And then that'll help with scuffing up your brand new, very pretty looking bottom bracket. So for this one, it's lefty tighty, righty loosey. But again, the actual cups do have the arrow on which way to tighten them, and it says right and left. Righty tighty on this side. Bottom brackets honestly aren't that scary. Now, you can definitely mess them up. Again, cross threading and that kind of stuff. So you want to be careful if it's your first one. But honestly, working on bottom brackets, it's not that bad. It's a little intimidating. Whenever I took the original cranks off too, whenever I switched to the action cranks, it definitely was pretty hard to get the original cranks off. So those are tightened down pretty tight, so just keep an eye on that. But as long as you're following someone's directions or something like that on how to do it and what to do, you should be fine. And with this, just make sure it is facing the way it needs to. You're gonna have 2 bolts here. I'm gonna snug this one down just a smidge before I start seeing it go in. Okay. And now what you're gonna wanna do is do these both a little bit together. So I'll tighten one side a bit and then go back to the next one. I do like the tool for this. It's kind of a neat looking cap. It's got a special little tool that fits in it perfect. Kind of makes me think of like a Ninja Star. It'll just kind of snug this up. Just a dust cap, so it doesn't have to be super tight. Some of the easy parts again. Let's put the pedals back in. The AliExpress cranks are officially put in, and for $53, I'm very impressed with them. I do think they're slightly better quality than an IXF crankset, but as mentioned earlier, an IXF crankset will not work with this fat bike, so keep that in mind, please. If they would have worked, I would have just bought those off Amazon and put them on. I mean, I would have got those in a couple days. But on AliExpress, this is the size you need to be able to work with the Dolomite ALX. So $53, got it in right under 3 weeks. Very easy to put in, very easy to get it all set up. Shifting and everything is still perfect. So very, very impressed with it. So let's talk about the claw compared to the Action Square Taper upgrade that you can do, which is a little bit cheaper and, in my opinion, easier to do. So you'd still use the same sealed cartridge bottom bracket for the action cranks, and they're still square tapered. So there are some you can buy with just the cranks by themselves. There are some you can buy on Amazon that have the cranks and the actual chainring as well. When everything's said and done, this is about $10 cheaper than doing this upgrade. But in my opinion, this upgrade is worth the wait compared to this upgrade. You're saving weight. I personally prefer externally driven bottom brackets like this compared to the square taper bottom bracket. I mentioned earlier in the video, I've just had bad luck with square taper bottom brackets. Like I said, I've gone through a couple cranks, and I'd hate to have to spend another $45 on these cranks again because they hollow out or something like that and you get that weird wobble. So, just my personal opinion, but for $53 off of AliExpress, I highly recommend this upgrade. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. But before we end the video, let's see the new weight of the bike. Let's zero out the weight. All right. The new official weight of the Dolomite it's officially 34.61 pounds. Got 553.8 ounces and 15.7 kilograms. So again, if you're willing to wait the 3 weeks, highly recommend this crank set. But thank you so much for tuning in, and as usual, until next time, everyone take care.